Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and boy, I'm gonna tell you, today's a good one. You just wait. You just wait till the end of this video and watch all of this stuff come together. Now, PolySign's going to be covered in this video. A little clip from Jack McDonald, the CEO. So, wanted to give you a reminder that Link to one of my sponsors has there's some shares available on Link to of PolySign. I think there's some Ripple. I own both. I own Link to. Let's see what else is on here. Uphold's on here. I own some of that. I think I have some Acorns, I think. Anyway, but PolySign's the main thing I'm interested in right now. I'm trying to decide if I'm going to grab some more. But the link's in the top of the description. Tell them DAI sent you. Now, check this out. Look at this tweet. One of the most mysterious addresses in all of crypto bought $75,000 worth of Ethereum at the ICO. So that here's one of your disguised whales. Completely untouched wallet, has never made a single transaction. The wallet's now worth over $400 million, a 5,333 times return, received $6.5 million in airdrops just by hodling, and 87 times on initial investment alone. Wonder if that person's paid any taxes. Wouldn't it be, you would think that Gary Gensler and the SEC would really want to know that. I mean, this person they haven't touched the wallet. They could just be sitting there accumulating money and not paying taxes on all those airdrops and things like that. You'd think that they'd want to know. Well, this spurred me to do this tweet. Biggest lies in crypto. 1, nobody knows who Satoshi is. They know exactly who the 4 Satoshis are. 2, Ethereum is decentralized, which is the basis of the fake commodity designation given from the Hinman speech, when it is secretly centralized amongst the disguised whales from the ICO. We have the videos. Here, look at this tweet. 39% of Ethereum supply is held by whales compared to Bitcoin's 11%. Remember when Brad Garlinghouse and Joseph Lubin were on stage together? Lubin's trying to criticize Brad Garlinghouse for selling, for Ripple selling XRP, and Brad says, "Well, how many have you sold?" And Lubin says, "Well, we practice internal transparency, which means no transparency at all." The most bizarre exchange ever. Well, now to the remember Gary Gensler and all the government people, they've tried to, we just don't know who Satoshi is. Well, watch this.
I've contended when I meet with some of the folks that run these platforms, even though they're decentralized, there's always somebody somewhere. By the way, Bitcoin is on an MIT open source license.
Yeah, what a coincidence that is.
Wondering about it. Satoshi Nakamoto, when he put it on GitHub, used an MIT license.
Yeah,
but
that's a
we don't
hell
know
of a coincidence, right? And then there's this.
Can I just add on? I love this point. Couldn't agree more. I think this binary also of decentralized versus centralized is really ridiculous, especially when it comes to history of technology evolution. A lot of us at MIT really are hardcore, Bitcoin developers when we employ the lead maintainer. And yet we've learned that central bank digital currency could actually be quite a useful on-ramp.
I'm telling you folks, write it down. I've said for a long time, Bitcoin was never the one. Okay, but I think this whole crypto market has been a setup to roll it into the real stuff. I believe it's all been a prototype. This Bitcoin, Ethereum stuff that's never made sense to me. Here's old Gary.
Thousands of crypto tokens that have come since are highly centralized. Ethereum is centered around the Ethereum Foundation of Vitalik Buterin and a team of developers. There's 70 people that work at the Ethereum Foundation, not all of whom are developers, but And in most of these projects, away from Bitcoin and Ethereum, there's a group of 2 to 5 developers. They're really...
This narrative they've created was 1,000% lie, and they know it. Now, Let's keep going with this. So now that you remember the article where the New York Magazine article where Gary's basically thrown Ethereum overboard now. So Max Kaiser and all these guys are trying to jump on that, and he says Gensler's right. Everything not Bitcoin is a security. The penalty for equivocating is that you give El Salvador a biggest first mover advantage while trying to figure out the president. And Deaton says, when you quote Gensler, you immediately lose the argument. The underlying tokens are not securities per se. An asset can be packaged, marketed, offered, and sold as security. It's circumstances surrounding the offer and sale of an asset that triggers U.S. securities laws. And then Michael Saylor tried to do the similar thing. Consensus is building that everything in crypto industry other than Bitcoin is a security, destined to be regulated by the SEC. This makes Bitcoin the only crypto asset suitable for use as global money, New York Magazine. Okay? I said, boy, it would be fun to watch XRP get real clarity from a lawsuit, not the fake kind. Remember, all these guys are, and this is why I think it's bull. This is why I think it's all a setup. These guys are all, remember, Ethereum, until Gary Gensler wrote that New York Magazine, he wouldn't even say whether Ethereum was a commodity, folks. Okay? And that's after the CFTC and the SEC called it a commodity for years. But there was they didn't give it a legal designation. That has to come from a lawsuit or Congress, is my understanding. So in other words, these guys, depending on who comes in, they can say, oh, well, no, we never said, we may have said we thought Bitcoin was a commodity, but that was just the opinion of the last guy. Until there's a lawsuit or congressional or a law passed, Bitcoin's not free. That's what I don't understand. How are they building this entire industry around Bitcoin? I think it's a setup. I really do. I think that their plan is one of two things. Either the plan always was to collapse. Now think about the credibility. Now they were all meeting with FTX, and then mysteriously it crashes, right? And then they use that to take away any credibility in crypto. What would be the ultimate credibility loss for crypto if they killed Bitcoin? That's what would be the ultimate credibility loss. And that leads me in to the next thing I want to show you. Watch this. This is from about 5 years back. And I said, nothing is as it appears. Here's the video right here. Watch this.
While Quarles warned against digital currencies, he explained that the note of caution reflected a lack of understanding as to how they would react to times of adversity, saying, quote, "It is not clear whether the payment system would be able to function in times of stress." So, Christian, even he is saying, if it's not a functioning payment system, that's what makes it a problem. Again, another criticism of BTC legacy, which is valid. So they're going to use, it's crazy, they're going to use the failures of the BTC blockchain as the excuse for shutting this shit down. It's almost as though Blockstream and the core developers were working with them to create this narrative.
Exactly.
And the hodler troll army is maybe sock puppets of the U.S. government and the central banks. I mean, I never see any of their faces. They're always anonymous accounts with like 20 followers on Twitter. Random people in Reddit. It's almost like this is being like it's being orchestrated.
Mm-hmm. That's what I've been saying for years, folks. I think it's orchestrated. Now, here's another clip. And before I show you this, I want to remind you, this is Chris Giancarlo. Trump administration popped the 2017 Bitcoin bubble. And right down here is where he said it. He said, let's see where, it was right here. Communicated with Steve Mnuchin, Treasury Secretary, and NEC Gary Cohn, and we believe that should Bitcoin futures go forward, it would allow institutional money to bring discipline to the value of the cash market, Giancarlo told him. Now, we know that he ran the CFTC. We know that the CFTC and the SEC, they met together when the Ethereum got the free pass, and we know that they were both meeting with FTX. FTX crashes, and that's used. And then we see where from the crackdown on crypto was coming from the White House, the CFTC, the SEC, and Congress, who were all involved in meeting with FTX. So you have to ask yourself, whether this has all been coordinated and a plan. You have to. Watch what he says here.
Today, throw up the CBOE thing. This is where it's going.
He's telling, this guy predicted what was going to happen when what Chris Giancarlo later admitted to.
Folks, CBOE Futures Exchange plans to offer trading in Bitcoin's futures beginning at 5 p.m. Central Time on December 10th at the start of global trading hours. See the press release. What does this mean, Christian? What does this mean? This means that on December 10th, institutional investors, big investors, can legitimately short Bitcoin. That means you can make, as an institutional investor, I mean, we're talking about the big banks, the big trading houses, billionaires can basically place a bet that the price of Bitcoin will fall. They can place that bet legitimately in a regulated futures market that they're used to playing in.
Wow.
So, who has been snatching up and buying up Bitcoin and driving the price up? Institutional investors.
Shit.
Prepare for the market manipulation that's about to happen. Everybody that's holding Bitcoin in any significant amount, really any cryptocurrency in any significant amount, you have till December 10th to protect it. Because after that, all bets are off. Well, actually, all bets are on. And a lot of the bets are going to be shorting Bitcoin. Because that's something that they can actually manipulate, and that the central banks are interested in manipulating.
Now,
because if they can crash this shit, and if they can get people to complain.
I want to play this. I want to play the whole thing right here. Now, listen, just think about what they've done with FTX, which they all happen to be meeting with, and of course, they didn't know that it was a fraud, right? What are they doing? They're using it to beat crypto over the head now. But if they did that with Bitcoin, it would be the ultimate thing to beat over the head. And you have to wonder if this was their plan all along.
That the central banks are...
Now, what he's talking about happened back in 2017. But if they can do it then, which they acknowledged they did it then, if they can do it then, my question is, was the ultimate objective to crush Bitcoin and thus crush all of crypto when you're ready to bring in the CBDCs and all of that stuff?
And that the central banks are interested in manipulating. Because if they can crash this shit, and if they can get people to complain that they lost the average Joe, grandma on the street, when we have the news stories about them losing all of their savings because they trusted somebody, I've said it was going to happen. I've said it was going to happen soon. This is the catalyst for it. Ignore what I'm saying at your own risk. Keep hodling at your own.
All right. I'm telling you, the Bitcoin thing has been a freaking psyop. I've said it for a long time. That's exactly what it is. And the Ethereum proof of work thing too. Now, I'm not saying that they're not going to allow Bitcoin to survive. There may be enough billionaires that own the stuff now that they're going to let it live. But I do mean let, because it can be controlled in one way or another. Now, then we've got this. And this is another thing that looks like PSYOP City to me. What are the chances that we're in a war with Ukraine and Stellar just happens to be working on a CBDC in Ukraine?
Okay, we're back to businessy questions. Danelle, this one is maybe for you. What's the update on the CBDCs in Ukraine?
Well, we're still working with them. We've talked a lot about, we're working with them to work on their digital asset infrastructure with the Ukrainian government. It's been just a really great partnership, and we're working also with others in the government to support what they need to think about from a digital asset infrastructure. You know, I had the honor of meeting with President Zelensky this year, and I was just so impressed by how thoughtful they are about where they want to get to. Because not everyone has the goal that sometimes people put these small goals in front of themselves, but he has this really amazing goal about creating a cashless economy. And that's something that he's really committed to. He's hired a lot of the right people to be committed to. One of the things they're doing is really focused on bringing talent in and outside talent into their country, and also bringing a lot of focus on blockchain. And so from there, I feel like we're going to get to a place where I would love it if Ukraine was one of the first that actually issued a CBDC. But we're still working with them. It's a great relationship, and we're happy to have that partnership.
Cool.
All right. Let me see where I am. I don't want to make this video too long. I may finish with, let me see where we're at here. I'm gonna finish with these two things. Let's do this. Watch this video right here. This is interesting.
You all want to hear something crazy? You know who Nellie Lang is, the United States Undersecretary of the Treasury for Domestic Finance? Why don't y'all take a second and just listen to what she has to say about the future of cryptocurrency. This is a Bank for International Settlements panel discussion that took place on the 9th of February, 2023. And listen to what Nellie Lang has to say about the future of cryptocurrencies.
But since we think the future value of crypto is for payments and not for speculative trading, the natural connection on
the future valuation of cryptocurrencies is for payments and not for speculative trading. That is literally coming from Nellie Lang, the United States Undersecretary of the Treasury for Domestic Payments. Don't get shaken out, ladies and gentlemen. Do your research.
What have you watched for these last 10 years? All the speculation that they're trying to kill right now. All the speculation, and it was their prototypes, Bitcoin and Ethereum proof of work. You've watched it for all these years, and now they're telling you it's always been about payments. How many times have I said it was never Bitcoin? Now watch this, because Digital Perspectives put together a great video. He spliced that in with what Jack McDonald said on Thinking Crypto show.
To your point, the adoption of blockchain, the use cases are being discussed now.
I'm not sure that our listeners would necessarily agree with this, but I think there's a growing sense that, particularly among the TradFi professionals out there, that history may show that cryptocurrency was really a proof case for the underlying technology of DLT and blockchain technology that really paved the way for tokenization. And if you think about the TAM, or total addressable market, broadly speaking, other asset classes than crypto is where the real juice is here, in terms of just whether it's equities or credit instruments or real assets. And if you think about the TAM, or total addressable market, broadly speaking, other asset classes than crypto is where the real juice is here.
So this panel, though, is focused on big tech and crypto, and it's an intersection of a topic we've been talking about all day. These reports didn't specifically address the connection to big tech, but since we think the future value of crypto is for payments and not for speculative trading.
Utility. No utility, no value.
The natural connection I'm going to make today is to big tech is through payments and stable coins.
History may show that cryptocurrency was really a proof case for the underlying technology of DLT and blockchain technology that really paved the way for tokenization. Broadly speaking, other asset classes than crypto is where the real juice is here.
Folks, I think we've just been through a 10-year playground, is what I believe, because that's what Bitcoin, the cartoon monkeys and the Bitcoin and the proof of work that doesn't work, it always seemed like a prototype. Joseph Lubin even called Ethereum a prototype, proof of work Ethereum a prototype. I really do believe that what we've been living through is the lead up. Maybe you could even call it a psyop, the lead up to what's really going to happen. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, and tell your friends and family that this is not and never has been about Mickey Mouse cartoon monkeys.